You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
You know, every week we talk about minimally invasive surgery and traditional spine surgery. Well, traditional spine surgery was leaving patients unresolved with their pain. People being slit down the front, slit down the back, massive scars, and things like rods and screws and plates being put into them in an effort to help. Well, unfortunately, sometimes when you use intrusive devices like that, they mangle and tangle nerves. And that's why Dr. Bonati left traditional spine surgery. And through a span of many years, he developed his own patented and exclusive Bonati spine procedures. He can address situations where people have been through failed back surgery, and if they have any of those invasive metals put into their back, he has patented tools that can remove them to help bring relief to the patients. There would be no minimally invasive spine surgery if it were not for that man, Dr. Alfred Bonati. He has helped many thousands of people that came in with canes, came in wheelchairs, had paralysis. Now, it doesn't mean that we give people false hope, but the amazing results of his procedures is that they have been able to walk again. So we have an exciting show lined up. We have Josh Bernstein. He's going to be on to talk about Thursday's GOP debate. And then Dr. Kyle Reed talking about some USF rehab technology. Really cool stuff there. And then, of course, we'll have an extended conversation about Thursday's GOP debate. But up first...
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
It is my pleasure to introduce to the program Marcella Fabre from Leesburg, Florida. Thank you for being on the line.
Thank you so much.
You have quite an interesting story. I believe you had mentioned that you suffered a fall in 2011. Why don't you tell us how that affected your life?
Well, yes, you're correct. I have a fall in 2011, and that really affected my life tremendously.
Sure.
I have severe pain, not only on my back, my legs, but also on my head, severe headaches, my neck, my shoulders, my arms, my hands. It was a nightmare, and I suffered for a period of time of 4 long years.
Wow. Now, when you talk about that pain and it was shooting down basically from your skull all the way down your arm and into your hands, how was that affecting your hands?
It was pretty bad. It was debilitating the movements of my arm. I was taking day by day. It was debilitating on the way that I was unable to even raise my arm.
Okay.
And I was stopping to move my fingers and to even use my hands to, especially my right hand, to eat,
right,
to brush my hair, even the basic stuff to dress up. I mean, stuff you take it for granted.
Correct.
To dress up, to button your blouses and to put your earrings, makeup.
Right.
Just to name few.
Your simple daily tasks that one really doesn't give much thought to during the day, that it was limiting everything you could do.
And Marcella, did you have any headaches and things like that from this injury?
She said.
Oh, she did?
Absolutely. The headaches were horrible. I call it my the black headaches because so many times through the pain, I became like blind. It was like I couldn't see. It was all turned black for so many periods of times.
Right.
That it scared me. It provoked me with panic attacks. It was nothing to get away. I was with pain management, and even the medications for the headaches did not take it away. It was so bad.
How long did you suffer like that? Was it a matter of hours, days?
The headache, so many times it took for a days, like maybe 1 or 2 days. That was very bad.
Right, where you would basically see nothing but black. That's
Can't
awful.
imagine living life like that.
Now, tell us what line of work that you're in, so people get an indication of how your problems affected that.
Well, it was pretty hard for me because as a businesswoman, I'm a realtor.
Okay.
And I had to hide this situation from my broker and my coworkers and my
Right.
customers. So whenever I was feeling sick, I had to be home.
Okay.
And so many times I couldn't, I had to drive, of course,
Right.
for my business to show houses. And
Sure.
driving was terrible.
I bet.
Being sitting for several hours was so painful.
Yeah.
My legs getting numb was hard to drive. Even driving, you need to both hands to drive, and
know.
I just basically use my left hand to drive.
Sure.
So it was very hard for me, and I had to hide this from everyone.
Sounds miserable. How
It was
did
very terrible.
and you
I had
and you
no
s-
idea.
and you said
A
you suffered
nightmare.
you said you suffered with it for several years.
That is correct.
Wow.
For several years, and I tried to hide as much as I could.
Okay.
For mostly everyone
Right.
that knew me. Only the closest one they knew,
Right.
because especially my loved ones. Because after a long day of work,
Right.
when I came home, I was mostly crawling to my front door,
Right.
and they had to help me through the night when I just couldn't sleep from pain.
Right. How did you luck out and find the Bonati Spine Institute? Because you sounded like you were dealing with such tremendous pain. How is it that you found out about Bonati?
Well, through all these years, I didn't mention that I went through physical therapy and with pain management, and I got injections. And I make a special party for my customers, an appreciation party. And as I mentioned before, I hide as much as I could to people. But one lady in this party, she really noticed that I wasn't doing well.
Right.
And she asked me a question. She said, "Can you please tell me what's wrong with you? You don't look well."
Yeah.
And so she pushed me aside, and I just opened my heart to her.
Right.
And I told her what's happening to me.
Sure.
Then she mentioned to me about Dr. Bonati.
Okay.
And when she told me and she showed me the video about Dr. Bonati, I honestly thought that was too good to be true. And I just didn't reach out for him. But after I asked my other doctor for surgery, and he didn't want to perform it because he thought that he won't be able to help me.
Okay.
I looked for Dr. Bonati, and he was the right answer because for my health condition, he provided the right thing for me, since he doesn't do the procedure through general anesthesia.
Right. The conscious IV sedation.
Yes, because I cannot get general anesthesia either. So that was the right answer for me. Praise God.
So when you came into the office and you had the evaluation with the doctor, did you feel like the doctor knew where the root cause of your problem came from?
Yes, I can. Oh, yeah. Yes, that was amazing because I had to mention also that since we work with my husband through the office, everyone was so nice and helpful, and the nurses, everyone. And the doctor who did the surgery on me, he was so amazing, and he looked into all the MRIs and X-rays and everything.
Sure.
He just knew it. And when I told him about my headaches, he told me, he said, "I will do this and that, and you're never going to have a headache again." He said, "You may have other type of headaches, but not that one."
Right.
And I tell you, it's a year and 1 to 3 months after that surgery, and that's my witness. I never had that type of headache again.
See, that's great news.
Whoever
Excellent.
is, yes. So whoever is listening to me, I'm telling you, it is hope. Please get help. You get it fixed.
Do you remember the interaction between yourself and the doctor?
Yes,
during
absolutely.
surgery?
Yes.
And you knew why that was of benefit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
When did you start to notice a relief of the pain that brought you in?
Well, the headache, that was, I would say that was mostly the same day. I will send a picture of you the same day when my husband took a picture of me.
Yes.
We had to walk out for a few minutes that day, and my husband took a picture of me. And when he showed me that picture, like 2 days after,
right,
I just saw that face. My face looked so like I had peace, a relief.
I'm sure.
Relieved from all that pain and suffering.
Yes.
I am so thankful that you get to share your story with us. So many people are out there suffering from debilitating migraines and having no clue that it can be due to damage in the spine. Continued good health. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And send along more pictures because we like to see the happy smiles of our patients.
Yes, please do. Thanks, Marcella.
Yes. My pleasure. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. And God is giving you a great tool in your hands. So keep doing that good job, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. All right.
Those are the stories that never get old. Those are the ones that touch everybody's heart that work at the Bonati Spine Institute. And that's why Dr. Bonati has his patented procedures to bring true relief of patient pain. Make sure you stay tuned. If you do need to reach out, check out Bonati.com. Coming up after the break, Josh Bernstein, he is going to
recap the GOP debate. We've got some audio clips. It's going to be some good stuff.
It's going to be a lively talk. Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, Here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Thank you for having me.
And that man over yonder who is writing notes to himself, that would be world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonatti of the Bonatti Spine Institute.
Hello.
Well, we're excited because joining us is Josh Bernstein, a TV talk show host who has been called the next Rush Limbaugh and was named one of the top 100 conservatives all-star in talk radio. Mm-hmm. He's here to discuss the Republican
the
debate.
GOP debate.
I know,
from Detroit
from Thursday.
On Thursday night.
And, I mean, that was just action-packed.
Yeah. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing great. Great to be with you guys.
Absolutely. Just to kick it off here, I have a quick little montage of debate highlights or lowlights, depending on your perspective here, from Thursday night. So check this out.
This little guy has lied so much about my record.
There we go. The person.
He is
Of all the people on the stage, he performs the worst against Hillary Clinton.
Wrong. I beat Hillary Clinton. I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls. I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls.
If you're our nominee,
excuse me, I think I'm talking.
Hold on. Well, excuse me.
I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls.
Hold on. You see what happens again when you challenge him on a policy issue? You asked him about the economy, and the first thing he does is launch an attack about some little guy thing, because he doesn't have answers, and he's asking us to make him the president of the United States of America.
I have a policy question for you, sir.
Let's see if he answers it.
I will. Don't worry about it, Marco. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, little Marco. I will.
All right, well, let's hear Big Don.
I have never tried to go and get into these kind of scrums that we're seeing here on the stage, and people say everywhere I go, you seem to be the adult on the stage.
You know, Donald has a tenuous relationship with the truth.
The entire budget for the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, $8 billion.
Okay.
The deficit this year is $544 billion. That's more than $500 billion. Your numbers don't add up.
Excuse me. You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars.
No, you're not.
If we went out to the proper bit, of course you are.
No, you're not, sir. Let's put up full screen number 2.
The full screen graphics were a joke.
You say that Medicare could save $300 billion a year negotiating lower drug prices. But Medicare total only spends $78 billion a year on drugs. Sir, that's the facts.
You're the liar. You're the lying guy up here. You're the one. You're the one.
Release the
You're
tape.
the one. Now let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. Excuse me. I've given my answer, Lion Ted. I've given my answer.
All right, let's leave it at that. I think the American people understand that yelling and cursing at people doesn't make you a tough guy. Is this the debate you want playing out in the general election?
Some very valid points there. Hey, what were your thoughts, Josh, on Thursday night?
Well, my thoughts that it was basically kind of like a cage match. It really was. It was very low on substance. It was very devoid of issues and, packed with punches, a lot of low blows, a lot of, fallacies, shall we say, that they were talking about. And the 11th GOP debate, though, from Detroit was the highest rated GOP debate in 2016 so far. So really, truly, the winners of this debate were Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC soundbite soldiers, who no doubt by now could create an entire infomercial by all the information and all of these little soundbites that we now have given to the Democrats for use in the general election, advantage Hillary.
But don't we have years and years worth of video to destroy Hillary in about 2 seconds?
Well, I'm sure we do. But I think, the American electorate has a short memory, and anything that's new and right away or recent is going to be, more damaging, if you will. But look, Hillary is a flawed candidate. She's a felon in waiting. I count at least 4 felonies for her: U.S. Code 18, 1001, 2071, 798, and 793. All of those have to do with releasing sensitive documentation and information, as well as having information stored on an unprotected server. So I think that, the drip, drip, drip of her server story in Benghazi is still going to continue. Correct. And as I said on my television show, I believe that this race started and ended on June 16th, 2015.
Well, I have something that I am a conservative, I am a Republican, and I love Trump. Now, my point is this.
Didn't know that.
The people talk a lot of conservative ideas, and they destroyed the conservative ideas that Trump puts in the tapestry. He is using common sense. And common sense means you are going to do something, and you are going to do it because it's necessary for the country and is good for the country. And that's why he has all these groups around. That's why his position is a command right now. When he talk about medicine, yes.
Yeah, I can tell you the rise of Trump, it basically is encapsulated in this one sentence. And I've been calling him for about 6 months on my television show. I've been calling him Trumposaurus Rex. And Trumposaurus Rex is the monster that the establishment has created by their lack of conservatism in Washington.
Correct.
And in 2010, when we had a historic victory in the House, they were put in place to do what? Repeal Obamacare, to stop Obama's legislation in its tracks, and be that stopgap against the executive. Well, that didn't happen, and instead,
why look, you are trying to tell somebody to remove their livelihood. That's the problem that we have, and that's why Trump is already leading. We are tired of politicians. You can elect anybody to the government, and anybody in 6 months, his livelihood is going to be threatened. And then what they are going to do is they're going to continue with the status quo. That's why the quote-unquote conservatives of the Republican Party are trash. Because they go to Washington, D.C., and the next thing that happens, and play the games because they have money coming to their pockets.
Well, listen, Josh, I know this conversation could continue and
for 10 days.
Well, it's going to continue into November, but we are out of time. I know you quickly wanted to mention some work that you're doing with AMAC. You got about 30 seconds.
Yes, AMAC is the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC.us. We are the conservative alternative to groups out there like AARP. And if you check them out at AMAC.us, tell them that you heard Josh Bernstein speaking about them. And if you reach out to them, they'll even give you a free membership. You can also call 888-262-2006, 888-262-2006. Again, AMAC.us.
Well, thank you very much, Josh Bernstein, TV talk show host, who has been called the next Rush Limbaugh and was one of the top 100 conservative all-stars in talk radio. Thank you so much for sharing your views on Thursday's GOP debate.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. Anytime, any topic.
Will do.
Take care.
See you next time. We'll have to have him back when we have more time.
I know. This is such a lively conversation. Barely anyone gets a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
If you were
No, I
someone
don't.
who knows
I don't. I have very little time.
with neck, back, or sciatic pain, or even political pains that are now taking its toll on your body, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or check out Bonati.com.
Just check Trump.
Coming up after the break, we have Dr. Kyle Reed going to be on to discuss USF's rehab technology. Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff's in the other room. We have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. And in studio, we're excited because we have Dr. Kyle Reed. He's assistant professor at the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the University of South Florida, and he's here to tell about some interesting research.
Thanks for being here, Dr. Reed.
Glad to be here.
I know that it's actually kind of cool. The lab is named after you. It's the Reed Lab. That must be pretty cool.
Yep. I got to pick the name, but
right.
Came up with the acronym for it.
And you guys focus on haptics and rehabilitation, which I have no idea what that is. So would you explain for us?
So rehab is the easier one. That's helping people who have lost their ability through some type of impairment, through stroke, amputation, or other neurological type trauma. And I typically focus on the ones that are asymmetric in nature. So the ones that have one side is impaired, like a stroke. You basically get a line drawn down your body where one side is impaired and the other side is healthy, more or less. And also in prosthetics, when you have an amputation, one side you have to have a prosthetic that you're walking on and you have an intact leg on the other leg. And so that makes some interesting asymmetries. Haptics is all about the sense of touch. And it really boils down to how to make environments where you can interact with virtual environments or get force feedback about different environments.
We should also mention that we've covered the Karen system up at USF.
Reality.
Yep.
And you had something to do with that too, didn't you?
Yes, that is actually on the other half of my lab. So when that was coming in, we basically rearranged our lab to make big space for it.
Which, for those that missed that segment, it was pretty cool. It was, how tall is that screen? It's just a huge wraparound, almost like an IMAX type screen.
Yep.
And it's
3 meters tall, 180 degrees. It's got a big platform in the middle that can move in all 6 degrees of freedom, bump you up, down, left.
And it puts you in different artificial environments, you know, going for a stroll through the woods.
On the water.
Piloting a boat and things like that. So it's pretty cool.
And it can twist and turn with the waves. And then motion capture, so we can find out what you're doing, and force plates in the treadmill.
So what type of people can benefit from the research that you have going on?
So the research that we're looking at, it really goes to benefit basically two groups of people. There's the people that, right now we're really focusing on stroke, and one of the projects in particular is a shoe that is basically you wear it after you've had a stroke to help you learn how to walk again. And it's inspired actually by one of the technologies in the Karen system that has it's a split belt treadmill. So the two treads go at different speeds. So when you're at the gym, typically there's one tread. So you can imagine having each foot go to different speed. What happens is you exaggerate the asymmetry they have. And so you're kind of making it harder for them to walk. And
did you see the video of that, Kimberly, that I sent? One, it's like you have a normal shoe on your left, and then on your right, it almost looks like a roller skate, except they're not wheels.
Yep.
It's this sort of thing that spins and it impedes how quickly you can move with your right. It's got to be really awkward walking in those.
Yes, and so actually it is very awkward. When healthy people walk on it, which is who we initially tested, it'll actually change their gait, and it will make them asymmetric.
Okay.
Which is sort of the point, because we want to make people that have had a stroke who are asymmetric, we want to make their gait symmetric. And so we basically exaggerate their asymmetry so that when you take it off, then they go back to having a more symmetric gait.
So making it worse ultimately makes it better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really strange.
So sort of a not perfect analogy, but it kind of makes sense, is weight training.
Okay.
So you stretch yourself and you eventually get better.
Okay, so we understand that. How long does it take the average person to be able to adapt to that?
So like when you put the shoe on?
Yeah.
So you can usually adapt to it within about 5 to 15 minutes.
That quickly.
And
okay.
so but that's a short-term adaptation. And so for helping someone, you want to have a long-term adaptation. So you need to do it over multiple days and extended periods of time.
Okay. Are we talking weeks, months, years?
So we're actually still trying to figure out exactly what that is.
Sure.
The standard in sort of a lot of the rehab areas is to do 4 to 6 week trials of 3 times a week.
Right.
And we're actually doing a trial right now with stroke patients who are coming in for 4 weeks, 3 times a week for 1 hour. And so...
and what have the results been like? Oh, sorry, Doc. Your mic's off.
I still don't understand the physiology of this. Are you telling me that somebody's paralyzed in one side, and then how you make, what's the technique, or what's the physiology that is going to make the other side work? Because what you're telling me is practically physical therapy. You're telling me that you're going to make that leg so difficult to move that it's going to stretch every type of a force, and then when you remove that shoe, then now he has a little bit knowledge of the force that's still available, and that's what's going to work. Is that the idea, or is some type of a change from the left brain to the right brain and things like that?
So a lot of the stroke rehab is actually, it's not so much focused on the muscles, it's actually focused on the connection in the brain and trying to reconnect the brain.
Okay.
And so this is basically retraining them and how to control their leg. And so by exaggerating their asymmetry, by making it worse, it makes them try to get that foot further in front of them.
But that's a brain command.
But it's a brain command.
Okay.
So it's not, eventually after they have had that asymmetry for a long time, they do start to have weaker muscles.
Yeah.
But it's really the brain connection that we're trying to get corrected.
My question is directed to my experience in my practice. One of the things that I found, that's a lot of people that they have spine surgery or neck surgery, and they are with some neurological damage. Now, the neurological damage in some of the people are affecting so badly that, for example, the fourth nerve is injured, and the person needs to use braces because he cannot walk, or then things like that. So I was thinking, this technique, this technology that we have now, will help the damaged nerve, or because it's not important anymore, the nerve is damaged. It's the brain who's going to do the job.
Right. So the stroke is entirely from the neck up.
Yes.
And so it's going to, so a lot of times part of the brain dies.
Yeah.
And so what you're actually trying to do is to remap part of the brain to use different parts of the brain.
Correct.
And that training is going to basically use the plasticity of the brain to allow different parts of it to take over that motor command.
Okay. Then if it is a damage on the nerve, the thing's not going to work.
So no. So if it's down to the spinal cord or lower, it's unlikely to work. It's really actually designed for people who can walk a little bit, either with a cane or some sort of assistance. But if you're paralyzed or can't walk, this is not the technique for you at the beginning. It may help you later on.
Okay. All right.
Now, it mentions here that you've created a new type of crutch.
Yes.
How does that differ from what's currently on the market?
So this crutch actually came from the same concept as the shoe. So Ethan was talking about that wheel shape. It's got kind of a spiral on it. And that spiral is designed such that when you push down, it generates a backward motion.
Okay.
Which, by the way, just as a quick side note, how the heck did you come up with that design and idea? I mean, where did that come from?
I guess you could say it's sort of one of those just trying to figure out a solution, and it hit me over the head.
Yeah, a happy
it was about
accident.
7 years ago, sitting at a desk trying to figure out a way to get a backward motion and looking for asymmetric force on the axle, and thought, oh, let's try an Archimedean spiral.
And it worked.
And it worked. We've modified it, so it's no longer Archimedean, but it's got that same concept.
It's really interesting. So the crutch?
So we actually took that same idea of having that same curve, and we thought, well, let's put this on the end of a crutch tip. And so students in my lab at the time, and I said, well, let's try this. So we made a crutch tip, and we basically stood straight up on it, and it started to propel us forward. And then we could actually lean a little bit backward, and it still propelled us forward. So it's basically changing the equilibrium point that you have to get up to. So when you push off to get kind of pivot up and over the crutch tip, you don't have to push as hard. And that helps to propel you forward. And it also has a benefit that when you flip it around, when you're going downhill, it'll actually slow you down. And
That
so
makes sense, yeah.
there's not too many hills in Tampa, but other places we've looked at testing it, it does help. So we actually test on the Cairn where we can change the elevation.
And so that's something that really anybody could
use.
benefit from. It doesn't have to be a stroke victim or someone with a disability per se. I mean,
So-
somebody that breaks their leg, it would help propel them forward and make walking with crutches easier.
Exactly. And we actually are working with a company both on the shoe, the GEM shoe, and the crutch. And the crutch tip is actually going to be on sale hopefully within the next month or two.
Oh,
It'll
that's
be
fantastic.
It'll be the Moterum M tip. So,
And it'll be available everywhere.
so it'll be available online, and hopefully we'll get a lot of doctors to find out the benefit of it, and they'll be able to have it in their clinics and put it on the crutches.
You're going to be a very rich man, Dr. Kyle Reed, aren't you?
Look at royalty rates. They're nice, but they won't make you too rich. They'll help out, though.
I gotcha. Only got a couple of minutes left. Explain what gait perception is. I know that's something that you work with as well.
Yep. So gait perception is basically, let's pretend you came into the office and you twisted your ankle yesterday and you were limping. People would very quickly look at you and say, what happened? What's wrong with your ankle? What happened? And so people are very astute at figuring out those differences. And so when you look at someone that has a stroke, they have more differences than just a sprained ankle. And so people can tell that they've had an impairment.
Right.
So you want to go back and look at and say, what changes are you going to have that can impact it? And so we can get that perception to be within a realm that appears normal, so people aren't going to notice it without having. And so that's kind of what we're aiming for, is to get to that part of it.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. And actually, we're out of time here on the radio show, but Kimberly and I don't know if Doc's going to be available, but we're going to head up to USF, check out the Reed Lab, get to see the stuff in motion. And real quick, you have an app game or something?
Yeah, so it's actually related to the bimanual rehab, but you can talk more about that when you come up for the visit. But if you go look at the Apple App Store under Pat and Rub, it's a bimanual coordination test game that will test how well you can do coordinated motions. And we're basically using this to help us understand how we can use bimanual motions, so two-handed motions, to help people that have a stroke to get rehabilitated.
It looks really interesting. And when I saw the name of it, just being a radio guy, it sounds like a wacky morning show. Hey, the Pat and Rub.
So it's based on the premise where, people always ask, can you pat your head and rub
I'm
your
not
tummy
sure
at the same
on my
time?
best day I could do that. Yeah, you try, and then pretty soon you're like
Going
rubbing.
in the same motion.
Exactly.
It starts out very simple, so there's some very easy ones, and it gets harder and harder. So
it's very interesting
Well,
stuff.
I'm going to put it on my phone. We'll practice before we come see you.
All right, I'll see if you can pat. So we'll put you on camera, see if you can pat and rub.
Great.
I love it.
Dr. Kyle Reed, Assistant Professor at the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the University of South Florida. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
You're listening to American Medicine Today. Make sure you stay tuned, because coming up, we're going to recap Thursday night's GOP debate in Detroit. Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here as
and
always.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
we should also mention Dr. Bonati had to step out for an important phone call, so that's why he's not. And I'm actually bummed because I have some. This is all about the debate that was Thursday night in Detroit, GOP debate. I know you guys were big supporters. Actually, there he is right now.
Yeah.
You guys were big supporters of Romney, right? Back in 2012.
Before, I liked him, I think, slightly more than Doc did. But quite honestly, I'm just disgusted by his press conference. This Mitt Romney talks and tries to rip apart Donald Trump, but he was more than happy to grovel for his support when he ran. So to me, it just seems like sour grapes.
Yeah, well, I have a couple of clips. For those who don't follow along politics that much, basically the GOP is imploding, and now everybody is turning their attention to trying to take out Trump as the front runner. You know, Cruz and Rubio, the whole establishment. They got Romney on board, who's not even a dog in the fight.
You know, it should mean something, though, when Democrats and Republicans are fearing for their lives, their political livelihood. They all turn against Trump. So that makes me even more of a Trump supporter.
Well, here's a clip from Romney's press conference.
Okay. Now, Donald Trump tells us that he is very, very smart. I'm afraid that when it comes to foreign policy, he is very, very not smart.
And here is Romney's suggestion or his plan on how the GOP can beat Trump.
Frankly, the only serious policy proposals that deal with the broad range of national challenges we confront today come from Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and John Kasich. One of these men should be our nominee. If the other candidates can find some common ground, I believe we can nominate a person who can win the general election and who will represent the values and policies of conservatism. Given the current delegate selection process, that means that I'd vote for Marco Rubio in Florida, and for John Kasich in Ohio, and for Ted Cruz, or whichever one of the other two contenders has the best chance of beating Mr. Trump in a given state.
You notice he didn't come out and actually endorse anybody that's remaining, though. He was just like, well whoever, as long as it's not Trump.
Well, the problem that I see here is he's a loser, all right, and a loser who is extremely upset because he was unable to have this type of input, this type of force when he attacked Obama. Now, if he will have that type of input at that time, it's very, very funny to see how a Republican can attack another Republican, but has no guts to attack Obama. Mm-hmm. So this guy needs to go to his house and do his business and forget it. He's trying to get a new possibility to become a president. Mm-hmm. You know what? He really ruined that possibility, because if he will shut up and will allow to discuss this thing with Trump in private, he probably will be the vice president candidate.
Well, Trump actually had, obviously, some rebuttals to say about that.
One of the things that Mitt brought up, which I think is so serious, he said about trade. We have to keep trade. Nobody knows more about trade than me. I mean, I made so much more money than Mitt. You know, I have a store that's worth more money than Mitt. It's a store.
He has one store that's worth more than, according to. And here's my favorite one. You guys probably heard this one. There's some innuendo in here.
Right.
I backed Mitt Romney. I backed him. You can see how loyal he is. He was begging for my endorsement. Mm-hmm. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees. He was begging.
Hear the crowd moan on that.
Ouch. One. Yeah.
But
yeah. Make no mistake. What happened last night was Thursday night was unprecedented in modern politics. You have to go back to the early 60s, right after Kennedy was assassinated, for the speech that Ronald Reagan gave about it's time for the country to make a choice for anything like this to have ever even come close to happening.
Well, and I know you guys obviously, Dr. Bonatti, Kimberly, I don't know where you lie, Jeff, but you guys obviously are big Trump supporters.
Yes.
I don't really have a dog in the fight. Don't really either side. I don't know.
You like it. You like.
I don't like any of
Clinton?
them. Is my point. Yeah. No, I absolutely don't
and
like
Socialist
Clinton.
Sanders.
Then
come on.
I don't like any of them. Is what I'm saying. But now you made me lose my train of thought.
Well, don't not vote.
Yeah, because you have a dog in the fight.
I'm not one of those people either that'll just they say hold your nose and pull the lever whether you like somebody or not. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
If I don't support somebody, I'm not going to vote for them. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that what's going to happen now, especially with the GOP turning in on itself. There's so much infighting. To me, again, as somebody who doesn't really support anybody who's on that stage, I sit back and it's almost disgraceful to watch some of that because it's so playground. It's so middle school. They're name calling, Big Don and Little Marco and Liar Ted and.
But you know what?
Is that how you want the leader of the country to act?
You need to call a liar out for being a liar. Because Trump will say exactly where he stands on whatever the subject, and all of a sudden, Marco and Ted, they come out, and then they quote him incorrectly. And I hate it. I sit there and I go, you know what? Win on your own regard. You don't have to make up false statements by Trump to try to win. And I just find them disgusting.
The thing that's so amazing about this, though, is we talk about the GOP imploding. What's really going to implode is the establishment. The rank and file people in the country, in my eyes, I may not agree, but in my eyes, they're falling in behind Trump.
Absolutely.
And the establishment is having a fit because they all thought if we ignore him, he'll go away.
And it didn't happen.
He's not going away, folks.
Well, I think what really happened in this is a lot of people that they has a lot of pay, a lot of incomes that it practically depends on this type of a relationship with companies and with interests. And the situation here is that Trump is doing the things practically without any help. He wants good for the country. He wants the truth, and he wants to create elements of competition. So these people, the politicians, don't understand that. And no question about that, all these political people are in the pockets of the private interests. So it's very difficult for them to break that relationship because that's how they live.
Right.
And Trump, for first time, is a president who is going to avoid this type of a behavior.
Yeah.
And they are going to resent that, and they're going to fight to death.
Yeah, well, it
that about wraps it up.
Certainly some fireworks, and it's
Yeah.
going to continue, obviously, right into November. So it's the show without an end. Unfortunately, this one has, though.
This one has one.
Welcome to...
Let's start again.
Well, let's
start
make
over?
sure that you tune us in on WFTS ABC 28 here in Tampa and check your local listings Saturdays on Bloomberg. Tweet at Dr. Bonatti. That wraps things up on American Medicine Today. See you next time.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.